Welcome to your online source for calculator tutorials. In this tutorial, we will become familiar with using the table to investigate graphs. Let's begin by looking at the y=, editor, where our pair of parabolas from the Calculating Zeros tutorial are waiting. If you do not have these in your calculator, take the time to enter them now. We can use the table to look at a snapshot of coordinate points that lie along any graph, or sets of graph as the case may be. This is useful for determining trends in the data or having access to several points of data at once. The table is the second function of the graph button. Because we have two functions being graphed, you'll notice that when I enter the table, I have two sets of data corresponding to y coordinates for the first function and the y coordinates for the second function. By default, the calculator will start you at the value x=0 and proceed by 1s for subsequent x's. These settings can be changed, however. Suppose we are interested in looking at function values that are very close to x=50. You can change the table parameters by accessing the Table Setup menu. The Table Setup is the second function of the window button. So let's go ahead and find that one now. So second window. Notice how it defaults to 0 and 1. Let's change our table start to 50 since we're interested in the x values near 50. And then we'll change our step size to be fairly small since we want to stay relatively close to 50. We'll change it to 0.1. Now if you notice when we go back into the table, it starts us at 50 and then all the values near 50 by 0.1 are there. If I want to look at the values on the other side of 50, I can simply scroll through by hitting the up arrow. So this gives me a nice overview of what the coordinate values are doing near 50. If at any time you forget what y1 and y2 are, you can simply scroll over to their column and arrow up onto the y1 header, and that gives you a nice reminder of what the function value is. In the case of not having enough room in a table cell, you can scroll down to, for example, this one here. In the table cell, it's 2529.1. However, realistically, the value is 2529.09. It's just too big to fit in the cell, so it abbreviates it. You can also definitely see that with the negative values over here. They can't fit in the decimal places. So if you're really interested in a particular value, make sure that you place your cursor or highlight that particular cell so you can see the entire value at the bottom of the screen. Alright, suppose now that we wanted to look at several different x values. The easiest way to accomplish this is by changing the independent variable, which is the x variable, to what we call ask mode. In order to do that, let's go back into the Table Setup menu, so second window. And you see what I mean by ask mode down here. I simply want to bring my cursor down, and instead of selecting auto, which is default, I want to hit enter and select the ask button. You'll know that you've selected it when it's darkened in and highlighted. Alright, let's return to the table menu. And don't be alarmed, when you return to the table after doing this, the table will be completely blank. And that's because it's waiting on you to specify particular values. So let's try the following values. I want to look at 1, 5, 6.5, 7.2, and 8.75. I know that's a lot for you to try to remember. We'll do these one at a time. Let's start with x=1. Go ahead and hit enter. Notice how it automatically pops up with the y values for each function. Alright, let's look at 5. Hit enter. 6.5, enter. 7.2, enter. And 8.75. Now I know this seems like a very eclectic collection of data points, but my point in doing this is you would be hard pressed to be able to look at all 5 of these points on any one screen by setting your table setup or your table step to a certain number. You just can't do that. They don't go by any set amount. They don't go by 5s or 10s or anything like that. So when the points that you're looking at are really kind of spread out or diverse in this way, this is the best way to get an overview of what's happening at all those points at once. As you can see, when I enter the X values, the Y values automatically come in. So I could enter any value I want from here and check out the values for each of those functions. This concludes the table usage tutorial. Feel free to replay this tutorial or browse any of the other available topics on the course webpage.